Okay, today we are going to talk about significant digits and rounding and how to use them. Significant digits, why do we have them? First thing you should know is in the IB math program, the default, unless otherwise specified, is round to three significant digits. Three. It specifies a decimal place, round correctly. I'm not going to take the time to go through how to round. You should know that by now. Um, what is the need for significant digits? They are used in science. Most of the time in this math class, it's just simply we round to three at the end of our problem. We can ignore them. We try to carry more than three with our calculator through calculations. Okay, but what is the point of significant digits? Let's say I tell you to run from Alturas Preparatory Academy to Idaho Falls High School. And I tell you to do this. How accurately do you want it measured? Probably relatively accurately. It happens to be 2.7 miles, according to Apple Maps. 2.7 miles. You're not going to be very happy if I tell you it's 2. You might be happier if I tell you it's 3, unless you're trying to run it for time and you get this, like, oh, I got really fast. Man, these 3 miles really fast, and the next time you can't run them as fast because it's actually 3 miles, not 2.7. Well, now we're going to drive to Boise, making a stop at Idaho Falls High School. Now, how accurately do I need to measure my distance to Boise? To the nearest 10 miles is probably fine. It's actually 211 to the nearest mile, but I don't care. So, if I say the distance let's just say I measured to the nearest 10. Now let's say I want to go all the way and make this drive. I should actually line up my decimal places. It's not accurate to say it's 212.7. Actually, know that this is 211, but that's not even to the nearest tenth. I'm now pretending that I'm accurate to the nearest tenth when I only measured to the nearest 10 miles on my distance to Boise. Okay? So, significant digits allow us to tell how precisely we have things. So, how do I know how many significant digits something has? Okay? Significant digits. All digits that are not 0 are significant. Okay? The 2, 5, and the 7 are significant. This 0 is not. Sometimes 0 is. Like in this case, we would never normally write the point 0. What the purpose of the point 0 is to indicate that I actually measured to the nearest tenth and it was to the nearest tenth 5.0. Okay? So, when are zeros significant? All non-zero digits are always significant. This 0 is trapped between significant digits, so it's significant. This one has 4. Significant digits are often called significant figures. I'm going to call them abbreviated sig figs because I don't like writing. This one up here is 3 sig figs. This 0 is what's called a placeholder 0. You get rid of it, it goes from 2,570 to 257. Those are different numbers. It is important, but it is not significant. It is not part of measuring accuracy. This one is 2 sig figs. Got another one over here. 0.00340 kilometers. Well, if I converted this to meters, it'd be 3.40, and that's a pretty easy to see that that one is 3. This is Zero on the right at the end after the decimal that is unnecessary for any reason but to show precision is significant. So the one up here is also 3 sig figs. It's the same number. It's just in a different unit. Whether you write that number like that or like this, these zeros at the beginning are what's called placeholder zeros. They hold the place, they're important, but they do not indicate any level of precision. Okay? I could also write this as 340 centimeters, which now looks like 2, this zero. In order to fix that, we put it into scientific notation, and now the zero looks significant. Okay? That is how to count significant digits. Adding and subtracting have one rule. Multiplying and dividing have another. When you add and subtract, it's the least significant decimal place. So here's how it works. I usually write these out like I'm adding them, like I did in grade school. Now you kept adding by hand, even with the decimal point at somewhere. I often just add them by hand, but if it's a lot of them, I'll just use a calculator, write it out. This first one is significant to the hundredths place. The other one is the 10,000ths. My answer thus is then only significant to the hundredths place, and my answer becomes 8.4. I do need to round that last one for 8. The 4 says I round down, so it's just 4/8. That is adding and subtracting. Multiplication and division. Well, I don't know how to do that. And I don't know. I suppose I do know how to multiply it by hand. I just don't want to. So I'm grabbing a calculator. And I get this answer 3.5518. And what often happens with multiplication, notice I had more significant digits showing up there than I had on either of them. This is 4. I'm going to call them SF to abbreviate. This is 2. What's showing here is 5. When I multiply or divide, my answer is allowed to have as many as my least. So my answer here is allowed 2. Of 2 and 4, 2 is the least. If you've got 3 numbers, you take the least of the 3. Obviously, if there's 2 that are the same, 2 that tie for the least, it's that. So that means that 1, 2. So I got to round to this place. That gives me 3.6 for my answer because the 5 after it causes it to round up. Okay, that is significant digits.